Right, fellow 3D aficionados, let's model something. Let me turn this music down on my ears because it is too loud. Right, so this is a vase I've just been designing this morning, by the way, which isn't updating on the stream. So let me just fix that. It now works. Superb. Right. So yeah, not a vase, a light, sorry. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a little like outer shell with an inner shade, 2 different colours. Probably release it onto Maker World next week. I've done some test prints. There's a couple of things I need to change the fit of. This clearance, don't know why I ever thought that would work. The cable won't go there. Need a little cutout in that section. But otherwise, it's pretty good using fuzzy skin on the shade part because it just really works well as a diffuser. Sometimes with transparent filaments, when they're just like sheer, it's very, how do I describe it? Well, you can see all the imperfections in 3D prints when it's like that. So putting a fuzzy skin on kind of goes like, well, you're just leaning into that. You're leaning into the fact that you're not trying for a perfect sheen finish, so you just have a nice diffuse texture. But what we're all here for, well, I mean what I'm here for, is the book Nook we started the other day. Let me get the iPad on so we can just marvel at my artistic concept that I did. Superb, worked first time, what a guy. So yeah, we're working on this little Japanese store book Nook for the Maker World Book Nook competition. Let's open it up. This is where we got to. Changed it a little bit, opened up the front, started modelling this tail. Modelled this capsule machine and this fender machine. Now, the sun has set, the moon has risen. I've had some thoughts. I think what I'd quite like to do is, I definitely got bogged down in details. I did that thing where I blocked out a vending machine and then modelled it to almost completion last time, and it's not really what you should do when you're modelling, because if you block things out, you learn things, you realise the way stuff interacts, and then you kind of go like, well, that isn't going to work, and you just don't want to be at that point after an hour of modelling. Not that it took me an hour to model this knob, but it might end up being completely pointless work if when you block everything out and you're like, you know what, this doesn't actually fit with what we're building. So we're going to do block out. We're going to try and have a little bit more of a stronger like grasp of how things are going to fit together. So like, what's going to happen here, what's going to happen up in this section. So let's get to that. Oh yeah, and obviously I modelled this little checkout area, which is just spectacular. What's going on there? Oh yes, that's the old top, that needs getting rid of, because we do not need that anymore. You can already tell my new microphone is in such a position that it is annoying me because it's over my hand. Right, let's get back to the main view. So, right, let's think about this. Let's think about this. I think, first of all, if we go, I probably want first a sign. Obviously I can't write Japanese characters, and do I hell trust the internet to make sure I don't put a sign on my shop that is something expletive. But yeah, I think a big sign up in this area, around about here. I want some refrigerators at the back, which I'm going to tell myself right now, I'm going to put a cub LED in so the chillers light up. I might end up just having the back open and put one of Bamboo's wireless RGB lights in. It's just a lot easier for users to deal with. And sometimes I think in the past when I've modelled stuff that's required like LEDs and like control boards and things like that, ultimately you do limit how many people are going to execute on that. So I think we can get to that later. I'm already getting ahead of myself. Another thing I think I quite like is I quite like to do something with this upper area where it looks a little bit more. If we go back to some of these concepts that were on the iPad, there's things like this where it's like a bit multi-layered. I think I quite like that. I mean, this one's bonkers. I don't know what's going on with that, but that's mid-journey for you. Yeah. Right. Aircon units are definitely a thing as well. They just feel like they make... I think what I might end up doing as well is on this one here, there is... It's like a tiled awning rather than what I've done, which is a bit more of a fabric awning, which just feels a little bit more Japanese. So I think I'll probably change the awning at some point. And then these wood, I should probably put the laser pointer on and then you can see properly. And then these sections here that are all like wood paneling is definitely going to be a thing. So like here, there's these like little extruded details that'll make up wood paneling. And this lantern probably says dog shat in Chinese on there, but I obviously won't copy the characters because I do not trust them. But yeah, something like this. So the other thing that I think I was kind of taken by was the idea that once we make this a little bit different on top, so it's not just a solid, like say for example, it's not just a solid block. So if we were to do something like this and bring it in, having a railing round here with a staircase, like a external staircase up. Now, none of the concepts have that in, so why I think that's a good idea, I don't know. I just think it's pretty cool, so I want to do it. So yeah, right, let's get to blocking some stuff out. So let's block out in here where we want the chillers. And I'm going to make these all separate so they can be printed separate, so it's easy to do them in different materials. I said last time I streamed that not everybody has an AMS, and to be honest with you, I've got 3 Bamboo Lab printers and I've got AMSs on 2 of them, and I literally never use multicolour printing on them because it just adds so much time, wastes so much material. I actually just use them for the fact that obviously I test everything that I put on Maker World. Well, you have to, because you have to have the physical print to show. And obviously I'm licensing the designs out to people, so they need to be tested. So my 3 printers are just pretty much going 24/7. But I have AMSs on them just so they've got multiple rolls of filament in them rather than having to constantly change them. So yeah, but I never actually use the multi-material. Anyway, I'm waffling on. So let's bring this back a bit so we've got a bit more room. I will bring back in the till just so we've got some idea of the like spacing. And I think I'll actually join those now. Actually, we need to cut that, don't we? We left that open from last time. Let's just hide the top for now. So I can see down. Yeah. So if we look here, yeah, I left that section out from last time. So let's select that curve, cut that, get rid of that, and then we obviously now don't need all these little ribs that I added. So delete them. Now let's hide this, and I'm going to get rid of these curves as well because I'm just going to tell myself I don't need them anymore. What is going on here? Have I got it? Oh, I know what I've done here. It's the duplicate, isn't it? Oh, right, get rid of that. It's because I didn't have it disabled when I saved. So what we're actually looking at there was my backup. Yeah, I did think I'd cut that. So there we go. Right. Save it so we don't need to see that ever again. Yep, so that's all one piece already. Super. Right, so if we imagine at the back here, and as I say, these are just going to be blockouts. I'm not going... I'm saying things that I know probably I'll not stick to, but I'm not going to go and start designing actual details yet. And let's just do them as individual chillers first. Yeah, right, and then we'll use the array tool, and we certainly don't need 8 of them, but we'll go about here, hold shift, bring it down to... I've got a ratcheted mouse wheel that is annoying. Right. So let's just say they are chillers. So what we're going to do is we're going to group them, put them in a folder called chillers. That's what the professionals do. Sorry, I should mute my mic when I'm having a little sip of coffee. We're not here for an ASMR slurping stream, are we? Right. So we see there's chillers there, and then we probably want, I think I was originally going to do one shelf here, but I think what I might do is have 2 coming out. This is a spectacularly small interior, but yeah, I don't want to make it too big because essentially it's a book nook. I'm not actually designing a like a Lego world. So we'll just call these the basic block out of the shelves. So if we duplicate that and bring it down, we'd have 2 shelves there. You know what we could... I'll not get too obsessed with that. Right, and then let's put these in a group and call them, can you guess? Shelves. You wouldn't find tips like this on Skillshare. Right, so let's just say that's the basic layout interior wise, because obviously it's not a lot of size, but it does what it does is it speaks a little bit to, it is a store and we can have some fun like with some little details on the shelves and things like that. The original design that was just doors was going to look a bit boring, I think, so I think being able to actually see in is adds quite a bit. That's quite a bit of work, but I just think with book nooks and stuff, what you're looking for is little details. Like, and I think when you're designing like little stores and things for book nooks and stuff, it's that thing where the details, like what's fun about it. It's the bit that when you print off the little bits, you're like, oh wow, look at this little like capsule machine. You know, you print that and then you'll place it in there somewhere or in front of the store somewhere. Yeah, so I think being able to see in adds quite a bit. Now, bit that I do need to start thinking about is the sign, because that's what sells it as a shop. And there's a couple of approaches we could go for. I think first of all, it seems too tall now. Let's have a little look on Firefox at some concepts for Japanese. There was an artist, I wish I could remember his name, who drew these amazing like little paintings of Japanese storefronts and little like ramen shops and stuff. I can't remember his name. Japanese store paintings. Oh, they're actually South Korean. This was them here. Mateus Urbanasowicz. I wonder if that's his real name, because that's very nominative determinism to be doing urban paintings as my my art. This is super cool. So this is the kind of thing. Actually, that's such a good idea to add in like a Flume. I think that's because it's a restaurant, and that's obviously got that from the. Oh, these are so good. I'd love to own one of these. This roof is interesting. Oh, so is that texture? That like giant tiles. Do I think I'm any further forward from looking at these? Do you know what? This is interesting though. That could be a really good detail for the sides, like the interior. I presume it's like the Flume for like an interior aircon unit there. So that could go on the side. Right. Yeah, I'll leave that open. So let's block out a fire escape. Just realised that I don't know what fire escapes look like. Yeah, I do. I've seen it. Japanese fire escapes, so that's a different thing entirely, but let's just go for it. So I think what we'll do is we'll do like quite steep, because fire escapes tend to be more. Actually, I'm going to think ahead here. I'm going to divide this in two, because then I can just duplicate the first set of stairs, because it'll have the right amount if we're halved. Yeah, so let's steal the angle so we know we're all right on the angle. Let's just trim these off just to have a little look. Oops. Oh, they must be connected. Cool. Right. So let's just extrude these out just for a little idea. Let's make it really narrow, because I think fire escapes are basically ladder width. These are external ones, aren't they? So yeah. Yeah. Right. So let's think about this. Let's have a little look at fire escapes. External fire escapes. Interesting. So that's 2 width. I'm not doing that, so. Yeah, let's just do. Oh, yeah, but hang on, these would be a nightmare to print, wouldn't they? Ah, no, but we can just have it solid underneath and not, and then it'll just be at an angle that's printable rather than having to have these each individual step bridge, because that'll be a pain. Yeah, so just angle, steps, railing. Job's a good one. So actually just now get rid of this because I'll just use this line as for the array. So I'll draw a step, do an array. Oh, they overlap. They sure do. Let's get rid of you. That's one thing. Sometimes stuff like that, you've just got to be zooming in to the maximum degree to be able to see things. Right, so let's start off with the core of steps, which is the steps. Let's go from the front so we get the right width. Yeah, let's go with that. And then let's do a linear array. Let's pick this as our end point. And then let's add however many steps we think makes sense. That seems like an enormous number of steps. I feel that looks alright. This step not being on the floor, however, I feel like that would be one of those, like, you know, mystery steps that's like 1% off and everybody eats dirt over it. Yeah, and then let's expand this along so this can be the like little walkway bit. And what I'll do is I'll duplicate this and I will bring it up to here. Let's actually just get rid of this for a second so I can attach it to that point. And then we will do an array again. Ah yes, that lip sticks out. Let's just pretend that isn't there for now. You know what I did before? I did it so it's exactly half, so I could just take the same stairs. Set the pivot point to there, grab it, snap it to there, and as you can see, didn't work at all. Grab Z on this because I've got the wrong axis selected. Sip duper. Alright, now where's that bit I got rid of? Do you know what? They don't match up perfectly. I'm just going to do the steps again. My idea to... Wow, flashing. My idea to just duplicate the same ones again was not worth it. Up to here. Bring it out and then grab and change the point to the side, and then I can just move it only on the X plane and snap it to the line so it's properly to the wall. Might as well actually just get rid of that one because don't need it. Right, so that's a basic block out of the stairs. So because we use that line, I think we could just offset it. Yeah, cool. And this can be how we do our railing. And I think I'll offset it the other way to be the back. Yeah. Let's bring both of those out to the edge. Now, this is just, as I say, just the basic shape. We'll come in and like add the rail in detail and the like later, but it's just to get an idea. Yeah, and then I think what we'll end up doing is we'll just end up oh, I might as well do it now actually. Let's just get rid of, select all of this and isolate it. I'm gonna get rid of those curves because they clutter my brain. So I think now I've done a little inset there. I think if I this is not how you should do it, but I'm just being rough and ready here. Yeah, so now if we drag that out and then now, let me think. I have thought. See that one mouthful of coffee? That is the power of caffeine. I was lost. I was absolutely bereft of ideas there. One sip of coffee from I'm sure he's watching, so I will give him a shout out. Fika Man, County Durham Coffee. He'd definitely be watching. Strikes me as a huge 3D modelling fan. The man just basically needs to back off and get one less hobby. Being a roaster and 3D modeller, I mean, it's just too much. But yeah, one sip of his fine nectar, and whew, I've had an idea. So my thing about bringing this underneath was to combat overhangs, which we can now see achieved very little because there's still all this overhang. Yes, it does give it a point, so you would be better off. But when it comes to the time of finally modelling, I'll attach all these stairs. Well, let's just try it with one for now, just to do a little example. And I'll do this. And then we've got even less. Well, actually, then what we could do is we could just bring it in like that. Yeah. And basically, we've got a step. Yes, it doesn't go out as far, but it doesn't need to. That then has, and in fact, we could actually do a chamfer rather than a. No, but it looks. Although, actually, do you know what? When you think about it, concrete steps, sometimes they're that might be the solution, but that's the idea anyway. So we can add a fillet or a chamfer under the stair, which then means it can. You're not going to believe this, but I've just had an idea. This could be a separate part and we'll print it on its side, and then it doesn't actually matter. So you would print it in with this side on the print bed, and then these aren't overhangs. So that might make more sense. But there's two options. We've got two different orientations we can go for. Whether this works depends on how the railing design comes together, because if I want like a railing design that insets a little bit, then you're adding an overhang. Oh, I've just pointed at my screen, which doesn't help anybody. You're adding an overhang in all of this space. But there's two solutions there, so we're not completely without ideas. Right, let's group all of these and let's call this stair. Yes, I hope you're really all enjoying my fucky keyboard, by the way. I've tried my absolute best to isolate the key presses so they don't make too much noise, but this microphone's supposed to be like unidirectional, so it doesn't listen to behind, but it must just be the keys. Like the sound bounces off my massive head and it's the microphone. It's the only explanation I can think of for why you can still hear them. And I can't do anything about my head. It's the size it is, so I really do apologise for that. Right, so do we think that looks the right size? I think it actually could do with coming out a little bit. Why are you? Oh yeah, because we joined you, didn't we? It's going to bite me in the arse later. I know it is, but let's just go with it. When I actually watched my stream back, not because I love the sound of my own voice, I actually hate it with all of my heart and soul. Just so I could check that the audio levels were all right and stuff. I really did feel like, oh dear, I really got into a bit of a rabbit hole with, as I say, designing super fine details on things when that should not be the case. So I am trying to just get to the point where we've got a little bit more of a baseline so we can start then diving into details, because details before basics is a recipe for disaster. That almost sounded like I knew what I was talking about there. Right, let's have a little look at that. Oh no, let's have a so I think on this side we should do that fire escape, that flume, and we could assume that like in this bit here is where there's some what are they called, the things that I forgot what they're called now, the things that chillers run on. Not that it matters, but they obviously pump out an absolutely enormous amount of heat. So we could see like, oh yeah, the flume comes up at the side, and yeah, let's do that. So go on the front plane, and actually I'm just gonna have a little look at how that guy painted his, because it was a good one. Yeah, see this little detail here without held on is pretty cool. And then there's something about Asia, bear in mind the only place in Asia I've been is Thailand, and there's something about Asia with just cables. If there is a square metre of space, put a cable on it. If there is a telegraph pole with 100 cables on it, put 400 cables on it. So that's actually a nice little thing there. You could have a little just cable that just speaks to detail. Again, I'm doing detail. Oh, and a little trellis too. Oh my god, look at this little guy here. I don't know if I'll be able to resist doing that. A little fat teddy. And we could look up what teddy is in... I'm going to offend half the earth here. I think it's kanji, the characters, or I don't understand the difference between kanji and katana. My understanding of Japanese characters is that I can't read them in video games. And when I was young, lots of games were in Japanese and not released here. But yeah, we could look up the characters for Teddy and Mart, and it could be called the Teddy Mart, and this could be the little mascot. It's a great idea. Right, let's do this. Do you know what? I'm just going to wing it. It's a wonderful painting, but I'm not sure how relevant it is to what I'm doing. Let me mute the microphone while I have a... I'm sure that's another idea just brewing there now. Right, let's get rid of all our vending machines, just so we've got a little bit of... Oh, you sneaky little thing. I noticed you when I was watching the stream back that I didn't attach you. What's going on here? Hang on. Maybe it's a cut yet. Let's just hide that. So, yeah, it gets a duplicate, so we'll just get rid of that. Right, let's hide the vending machines, and yeah, let's put in here the flume. Now let's assume that said refrigeration units would be spitting out their heat high. And it also gives us the space around the side to do some other things if we wanted to. So let's come up here. Come up here. There's one thing I wish I could do. I wish I could, because you can steal angles from stuff you've done before, but I wish you could steal the inverse of the angle. So I want the opposite of that for here. Now, it doesn't matter, but like it's something I would find useful. Right. So I don't think this will work, but let's just do a pipe, 4 parts. Angle it 45 so it's straight on. Yeah, that's some outlet. Let's try 30. Ooh, I've gone overboard. Right, there we go. See, this is the magic. Oh, it's still too big. Yeah, I don't like. Why did I think that was a thing? I don't know why I thought that it sticking out would be a good idea. So let's grab these 2 points, bring them into a line with this, and then let's try the same thing again. 4 vertex pipe, otherwise known as a square, rotated 45 degrees, and let's make it 15, let's make it 12. Yeah, and then let's bring that down like. How does that other guy's interface? Oh, it's like a box, isn't it? Right. So let's just add a box. Now we're feeling lopsided here, because we took away this space and added here, but I don't think it matters. Let's add some fillets, so if we do some stuff later, we can. Ooh. Super. Do we think that they look better with paneling in? Oh, see, I'm doing details again. It's just too flip it. Yeah, they definitely look better. Right, let's just undo that. I'll just do these little panels. Yeah, see, the offset command's really powerful because it can work on multiple faces at once. I don't know if that reads as a sheet metal flume to me. I think maybe it's actually that isn't what we want to do. Panels don't do it. I think what it might actually be is like something like this. Yeah, that's better. Because then that feels like the bracing that's holding it to the wall, doesn't it? So should we do another one there? feel like I'm missing something here. I don't know what it is, but see if there's any redundant topology to get rid of. There is not. Right, well, obviously I want to go buck wild on sorting out these like conditioning units and all the detail in there, but the problem with that is I'll spend an entire stream doing it, and I said I was going to block everything out, so let's block everything out. So next up, I think we need to figure out where we're putting the sign, because the sign's going to anchor the whole top. So let's have a look here. Go back to Firefox. Let's go for a sign like this. I think, yeah, let's just do a straight, normal, bog standard square sign that potentially what we could do is we could run a cob LED through the back of it and then use it so it's just like one layer. Well, one layer would be a bit bad finish, but like 2 layers or something like that. And then the letters would shine and the rest wouldn't. Yeah, I think you could, or you could just do the letters as separate parts that then like socketed in, a little bit of glue. I think for this design, what I'm going to do actually, this was another thing I thought as the day passed. Normally when I do stuff like this, or I do like little mechs, or get a little bit obsessed with like little snap fit joints, like little like 2-prong like dovetail joints, everything snaps together dead satisfying, and it's great. But it is, I have to think about things as I'm like putting them onto Maker World, that obviously people are just going to print them. Some people don't use the profiles that you actually put out. They get the model and then just download it and use their own profile, which is fine. That's what people can do. But then the problem is people come back and they then review the profile when they haven't actually used the profile. And with things like little little like snap fit joints and stuff like this, like tolerance matters. So using the correct layer, the correct infill, so things flex the same amount. You can completely make it so the same joint that works snaps when you're using a different setting, and then obviously that's not great for people, and it's frustrating for people when they've got like, you know, one roll of filament. So I think what I'm going to just do here is just have things like actually glues together. It makes everything simpler to design. I'll have less issue with stuff like that, like feedback back. And people have glue, shops have glue. So if you can't glue things together, I am afraid I can't help you. That's that's a sad reality. But right, so I think we'll have a little look at this. Oh, these are so cool as well. These look like flag signs. We're gonna have to design that, aren't we? Just like prints flat, has a little hole that you stick the pole. I don't know why I didn't think of the word pole. Pole. You stick the pole in. Yeah, that'd be cool. And again, when stuff's flat, you can do a lot of like easy stuff. So, right, I'm thinking that this awning's trash and I want to redo it, but I'm going to hold off right now. And what we are going to do is we're going to add in this sign. Oh, actually, no, you know what we're going to do? We're going to group this. Group this bad boy into Flume. I can't believe I'm actually organising stuff. This is what happens when you've got accountability on the internet. People watching you. People call you out on your nonsense. So let's have a big old sign. I'm actually going to have, I think I will have a little indent here, so we can have some sort of like balcony bit. Now, the good thing about the little indent is if the sign goes a bit wider, it just speaks to that thing of like, wow, this was not meant to be a shop. We've just bodged this together. And that's the bit I like about this sort of like design, this sort of aesthetic. So now, of course, I'm designing this a certain size and I have no idea of what's actually going on the sign. So this could pretty swiftly be a dreadful idea. But we're blocking it out. We're getting an idea. We'll inset that there to make a little bit of a cool... Oh, hello everybody in the chat. I never actually noticed there was some people in the chat, including my real life friend, Daniel. He was laughing, but he will find this very odd that he's watching me on the internet. Knowing that I've probably had heart palpitations for 3 days prior to doing a live stream, but I am actually enjoying it. No, I don't want fillets because these are going to be wood. This is the whole point, isn't it? That thing is going to be like lumps of wood. So I will do a little bit of detail in here because let's just isolate it because I've got too much visual clutter. So if I bring these bits out, I'm actually going to bring them out different amounts as well, just to get into that ramshackledness. And then let's steal this geometry here to there. And if we bring that out a little bit, see, it starts to look a little bit like interlocking wood. It's made of timber, not earth-destroying plastics. Says the man whose garage is full of 3D printers and enough 3D printing filament to end the entire dolphin race. And let's actually do the same on the top, just to get across that. Oh, that's the wrong place. Get across that wood timber chunk vibe. Timber chunk vibe. What have I done wrong there? Ah, right, yeah, they need to come in. So I got too excited seeing that real life friends were in the chat and I missed this. So these should not be flush. Let's do them separately because they're different depths, aren't they? So if you hold control, you can actually snap it to a point so you know those faces are aligned. Well, I'm going to go out there and say it speaks of timber. It does not speak of a modern sign. Do I want legs for the sign? I do want legs. I think I'm going to do actually, I'm going to do some little angled. Yeah, I need to print it. Oh no, we can print it on its back. We can print it on its back. So. Right, let's unisolate. You remember when I said that I wanted it offset because it speaks to ramshackledness. So now it's just hanging in the air. I'm going to move that along. It won't be central. It won't be symmetrical, but see, I was going to cut it, but believe with plasticity we'll get away with this. So if we pick both sides, we might not because of this, but let's give it a go. Yeah, see? What a bit of software. You know what, I'm actually going to do the same there so it's not on the edge. So I think now that'll print flat. So it'll print this face here will be what sits on the print bed. And I'll make a little slice in this bit when it's modelled, just so it's like obvious where it. A little bit of super glue, and then we'll have to figure out some sort of lettering. I'm not going to add the fillets because we're blocking out. I will come back to it later. So, right, do we want to add in? I have to admit, I'm feeling a little intimidated by what I want to do with this top bit. I'm not having any great ideas yet. Like, I think the best option would be to do something sloped. So I'm going to cut it. I'll just hide it. We'll keep the bit for later if we need. And then, if we bring this bit here, let's just pull this up so it comes back to a straight bit. Then we could put some more like standard tiles on here that speak to, like, you know, Japan. This could have a window. We can imagine that the people who work in the shop throw the shopping down here, and then when they're done for the day, they come out, slide the doors across, trudge up the stairs into here, and then this is their little house on the top. And I'm gonna give them, being a man who worked in retail and knows how soul destroying it can be, I'm going to give them a high up, beautiful window that will have wonderful vistas over the incredible greyness of the Plasticity viewport window in the future. But we're not there yet. But yeah, I think actually, you know what, I actually really think that transforms it a little bit, adding that simple angle in. I'm gonna, just so I can appease myself, I'm just gonna try and design some tiles, just because I think fundamentally whether the tiles work or not changes quite a lot of how things are gonna look. So as much as I don't want to get into detail, I think designing a tile might not be the worst idea. So to Firefox. So yeah, so they're like a, could just Google traditional Japanese. Who would have guessed that traditional Japanese roof tiles wouldn't be in the top 10 of the autocorrect? Although I will say, I'm very surprised that traditional Japanese Christmas dinner has slipped into the charts there. What is a traditional Japanese Christmas dinner? Wow. Right, I'm gonna have to come back to that because that's KFC. God, they know where I live, don't they? Traditional Japanese tile, roof tiles. Ooh. So, I think that's actually a little bit like what's on here, isn't it? Like, so they're like an S. So they're like an S where they like loop into each other. These are a bit too traditional. These are like temple tiles. I mean, I get it. I searched for traditional Japanese tiles and I got traditional Japanese tiles. They do seem to have this thing with this circle, don't they? Like a little circle and like a declining curve, which actually might be a good idea, because if we do perfect S as the interface, you're really, really locked into your spacing horizontally, like when you array them out, because they basically will have to interface perfectly, because they'll be the inverse of each other's like curves. Whereas if you have this, where you've got like a thicker circle area, you actually have quite a lot more room to move the array of the tiles left and right, to compress and compact them, which will be helpful when it comes to actually modelling out the roof, just because, yeah, this is the type of thing when I talk about a parametric CAD versus plasticity. With the parametric CAD, you would sketch out and you would know exactly how the dimensions of the tile and then how it's going to array, whereas I've gone by vibes a bit here. So, but yeah, let's have a go at this. Let's stop looking at the World Wide Web. So I'm just going to actually get rid of, I'm going to hide all of that. I'm just going to make my little tile down here just out of, it'd help if I selected circle. So let's just go 5 mil. And then let's say 12 mil. No. Well, actually it is 12 mil just from the centre of the circle, so it's alright. Let's subdivide that line and select the central point and bring it down, and that'll give us a nice curve. Yeah, it's okay. It was an excellent sound to make on the internet, wasn't it? It turns out I don't want a mirror, do I? So let's just offset this again till it looks right. Let me just quickly look at those tiles again. Ah, yeah, right. So actually they don't come all the way to like the top of the circle. They're a little bit thinner, right? And then we can get rid of this middle line, and then we can use this wonderful tool called tangent arc to connect those two. And now we have a shape. Right. Now let's have I designed this backwards? Let me look at that reference again. No, I haven't. Now if I'm going to array these, it's probably actually worth doing the fillets and the little minor details now, just to save it, because obviously they'll all be copied over to the array. So let's just do a little chamfer, do a little, actually I want to do a circular inset, because that's what lots of them had. Splendid. Just adds a little bit of detail to the tiles. Oh, look. So I think that's actually, yeah, it's not a bug, but it's when the computation for the fillet gets a bit, like that actually will be all right, I think, when you render it, when you export it out. See, like it looks fine there. I'm not going to push my luck though, because just in case... Oh, right, I'm just going to leave it. Just... What is going on there? Let's just rebuild that. Yeah, there's definitely something funky going on there. Right, let's just leave that for now, because first of all, what is the size of that fillet? It's a 0.06 fillet I'm putting on, so you're not even going to see it on a 3D print. So, right, let's actually isolate this so I can have a little look. I might put a little, just a little ridge across the top at the front. Wow, Mr. Fika's coffee's really hitting now. I'm misclicking all over the place. Oh, I need to do the inside as well. So, let's now just try a little array of these, just to see what we actually think. Obviously I'll have to angle them, but we'll make the array first and then angle them, and I can get rid of what I don't need. Let's just hide these curves, because for some reason the blue really drives me mad. For some reason. Right, so I was spacing. I might have to end up... Ah, right, yeah, that's a good point. Right, let's just make one minor adjustment to these tiles. Let's just assume that we're not going to go any further than that. Because when we array them, we don't want... Because obviously I inset that. So, well, as you can see here, if we bring this out... Maybe the answer is I actually should have looked to see how big the tiles are going to be. No, I've got a better idea. Let's just bring this whole front bit in a little bit so the circular bit stands proud. It's actually a good example of what I was saying about doing detail before you've really figured out what you're doing, because that was pointless detail because I've just cut it all away. But now this looks messy here, but ultimately when it's we're talking about tiny dimensions here, so they aren't going to show the same on a 3D print. So now if we array them, not a radial array, a linear array, or a rectangular array as they call it here. Oh, still not enough. Do you know what the idea maybe was just to make this not go in as far, or bring this out. See, this is why parametric stuff's really good, but you do get a lot of undos, so haven't done any surface modelling on here on the stream yet, but there's a little bit. We're just getting rid of faces, which breaks it into a sheet, not a solid, but I'll be honest, it's the bit that is hardest with plasticity, and it's the bit that I'm not, well, I do it all the time, but I'm less confident in it, so I tend to avoid it if I can, but with loads of stuff you can't. If you want genuinely unique shapes, you're going to have to get into surface modelling. Let's just try this one then. I still think this is going to be a mess. The whole point of me doing this circular thing was so I didn't have to be precise with the tile. So, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to take this geometry, I'm going to steal it, I'm going to press it, I'm going to extrude it into this tile. There we go. And now this tile has a bit of a cutout in it. Get rid of that one. So it looks crazy on its own. Now, when we array them, ta-da! Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a copy of this first tile, and I'm going to call it tile. And I'm going to group it, and that group's going to be called tile, and it just means, and I'm going to hide it so I don't have to deal with it, and it just means that I've got, because I feel like I might want to Boolean all these together, but let's grab, yeah, so I don't need that many. Might be really lucky, you know, we might have just got spot on with the tile dimensions on a complete and utter fluke. So rotate along the x-axis. And then we can I'll get rid of this one because I definitely don't need this one. Definitely don't need that. I spoke too soon. So what we'll actually do is we'll take this tile and we'll cut it so we've still got that little round section. That's some seriously messy filleting, but hello. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this as a reference plane. So we've got the angle of the roof. I'm going to draw a line on it. I think this is actually somewhere that would be really good for the new feature that they have in Plasticity for arrays. And do I have instances? Sorry, yeah, I don't have it on this version. Really need to update this because an instance would mean you'd have one tile. You could array it as an instance, and any change you make to that original one, it'll cascade through and change all the other tiles, which would have actually been flipping perfect for what we've just done. But hey yo. Right, let's do a rectangular array and a long. I've actually had a thought. Best to offset them, aren't we? So let's get a second one on that same line. And then grab it and bring it like this. That's the, you know what, I'm going to be bold, I'm just going to delete that section of roof I cut because I don't think I'm going to need it. So let's have a look at all these tiles then, and then what we'll do is we'll array all of this like little offset pattern. Should it be in the middle or should it be a bit? let's just do that. I'm not actually making a roof that needs to be weatherproof, so... I've just noticed, I meant to have a little ticker across the top to tell you what music's playing, but it don't work. Put that in a group called Real Tiles. Rectangular array. Let's whop it up to here. Oh, it's too far. It's not far enough. That's why it's too many. So let's just put 5 in for now. Let me look at the reference again. Would you believe it? In the reference, they're bloody aligned. I thought that didn't look right. Right. Well, that makes things a lot easier. Actually, them being not perfectly, that looks pretty good actually. Yeah, that's good. I was going to make them all perfectly aligned with the angle of the roof, but actually having them staggered a bit shows off these edges, so you know what, that is a winner. And I'm gonna duplicate, and then I'm going to group, and they're under real tiles, and then it's going to be called backup, and then all of these ones here I'm going to Boolean. Now this is where we test the power of Plasticity's Boolean engine, which is amazing, but I quite often really push my luck with it. It's worked perfect. So there we go. So that is now 1 bit. Let's get rid of that backup so I don't have to look at it. So it's not finished, it's not perfect, but I think that's pretty good. Now what we can actually do here is pull the roof up so it fills that space. Now I think if I do, yeah, see it starts to come through the front there. So what I'll do is I'll just isolate this for now, select this face, select this pivot point, rotate it, select this pivot point to the bottom, so the bottom's not getting higher, and then just do this, and now we should have it. Well, it's not, but we can now pull it and it shouldn't come squirting through the front. You know what, that looks alright, that does. I'm pretty pleased with that roof, and it's that detail there, that now gives it a vibe that is not as modern, or at least it feels a little more Asian. Speaking, somebody hasn't got a clue what he's talking about when it comes to Asian, as you've seen the level of my research, which is go to Firefox, go to Google and type Japanese Christmas dinners in. How long have I been going? 1 hour 28, a little bit longer. A little bit longer. It's amazing how little I get done when I'm streaming. I'm so... Oh, you know what, I spoke too soon. Look at that, the roof's come through. I feel like it takes me no time to model stuff for them by myself, but maybe it's just I'm in a bit of a flow state when I'm on me Todd. Let's actually see if we can do something about this top bit. This will look like garbage at first, but So if we have that roof, do we actually make this just... What do you think? Do you think we angle the roof? It does feel a bit more authentic, that, doesn't it? Right, yeah, let's do that. And have it at a higgledy-piggledy angle as well. So why not? It's an error I've never seen before. Seen that one plenty of times. Right, and then if we take these two here, isolate them. This is a bit lazy, but really what I should do is take this and put it on there so the two ends match, but for now. So it gives us that. I think that looks really good. What do we think? I've definitely now done this and this. This is going to be more problematic's not the right word, but like, although to be fair, the fire, I'm thinking it's going to look more modern, but the fire exit probably would be more modern if this was an old building, you know, for health and safety, which I have no issue with, by the way. If health and safety, you know, came along. Right. So I think, yeah, we'll cut that off later at the back. That's ridiculous. Now, let me get back to my Firefox and have a look at that little reference we had. So, what did I like? What did I say? What I liked? The teddy bear, like a grown man. This. So, let's whack one of them in somewhere. This is cool as well, isn't it? Teus Urban. Oh wow, he hasn't just done. I will come back to Mateus's website. Right, let's do this. So to pull 3 bits on the top. This actually reminds me of something when I was learning Blender. When I was learning Blender physics, I modelled a little drapey flag like this that fluttered in the wind. Which, I love Blender, but Jesus Christ, I find it really difficult 3D modelling. So let's have, I suppose it doesn't really matter where it goes for now, does it? Just let's use this as a reference plane. So let's have the sticky out pole. We don't want sticky out pole, what am I doing? Let's pipe it to make it a pole rather than a line. Gee whiz, that's a bit thick, isn't it? Although actually, what size is that? It's only 2mm thick, so really I can't make that any thinner because the gods of 3D print will get angry. And we could just like pretend that these are the little loops that the flag goes through. You know what? Think before you do. What did that? Oh yeah, it was triangle at the bottom. I don't know why. For some reason, I was thinking it was I was doing something like a Bannerlord's flag. Oh, it was like that. Just use a little mirror there to make sure everything was lined up properly. Let's join those together. Let's move it so it's in the middle of that plane there. Man, it doesn't matter about interfaces. I'm not even sure it's going to go here. It's just more of a concept. A blocking out. If I've got one YouTube subscription for every time I've said blocking out today, I'd have 4. Set this as the reference plane and then select that and then mirror it and mirror it this side to that side, and then we don't have to do that inset on the other side. It's one of the first things I learned when I was doing 3D modeling is model half of everything. If you can mirror it, mirror it. Just select these and then let's group them and call it banner. Oh my god, I didn't put the sign in a group. Main sign, let's call that. Did intend to write banner, but I wrote barner. No. Don't be coming at me about the British education system, because it's bloody brilliant. I don't love this. I'm gonna be honest. I think this could do with a little bit of wobbly surface modeling, but I'm in the block out phase. I think what I might end up doing with this flag to make it look a bit more fluttery rather than a board, because it looks like a board now. I don't need a board and a sign. I need a flag and a sign. You cannot cross your advertising. But I'll use, well, I'll just do a little example here just to, like, you can get some pretty cool. So if you make a shape, fill it so it's a flat plane, and then you subdivide it a couple of times. You know, you can say pick this point, this point, this point, grab it, move it back, grab this point, grab it, move it this way. Now this will look crap, but see what I mean? Like you're getting a like more of a flag, like I've done it now, haven't I? Let's just use it. I think I might have made an absolute nightmare for myself of printing this, but I'll deal with it when it comes to it. I'm not going to get rid of that because I might come back to you. I think this could probably do shrinking down a little bit. Let's get these edges because there's no hard edges on fabric. No sharp edges, sorry. There's actually no sharp edges on pretty much everything, but there's definitely visually when stuff's got hard edges when you're 3D modeling, it doesn't look like fabric, does it? It's now time for Flag and Paul to meet. Oh, that is better. That is better. It's too big. It's the shape. It makes me feel like it's a pub sign. But again, I'm not going to get hung up on this for now. I'm going to look at this will be one of those things that I'll look at when I'm off stream. I think I might have a little like research for banner shapes because I've gone off that painting, which is a wonderful painting, but I just don't like how this looks. So let's put this in that same group though. Banner. I think something to do with these rings as well, but we will learn. We will deal with them later. Right, it's been 1 hour 40. I think my brain might start to be getting fried by just constantly 3D modeling this, so I think I might call it quits for today. I'm going to do the obligatory. If you like the stream, subscribe. If you like the stream, like it. If you're watching this on video on demand, like it. If you think I'm incredibly handsome and I deserve a subscription, subscribe. If you think I'm incredibly ugly and I deserve a subscription, subscribe. And as the last little shill, everything I 3D model goes on Maker World. Let me get it up. Everything on 3D model goes on Maker World. It's free to download. It's free for personal use. I've got 600 and something models on there. If you would like to sell any of these designs in your own Etsy stores, Shopify stores, your own craft fairs, things like that, you need a commercial license. It obviously helps support me, helps me continue to make this stuff because this is the only way I can make this stuff is people supporting me. But yeah, loads of stuff on here. Go and have a look. I go under Abstractia Design. Annoyingly, the account is actually at DK Design because I'm in the process of getting that changed, but it's proven a little bit difficult, but it'll get there. But yeah, if you search for Abstractia Design, you will find my account. Yeah, there's a Patreon link. I'll put it in the description. If you wanted to subscribe via Patreon, that would be amazing. If you would like to subscribe via MakerWorld, because some people just prefer that because that's the platform they're already on. They do have a commercial licensing program, so you can do it there as well. Personally, I would prefer it through Patreon because it's a bit of a better deal for me, but each their own. Do whatever you like. So yeah, thank you for watching, and if you can, I will be streaming tomorrow. So I'm going to stream 3 times a week. So obviously subscribe, it'll tell you when I go live. I put a schedule out this week. I've already not done the schedule. I've streamed, but I've streamed at a different time. Just I want to do it now. As I get more comfortable with these streams, I'll probably end up doing more of them and perhaps shorter ones. I don't know, but essentially that's that. And I hope you think that the book Nook of the Japanese store is coming together. I think it actually has come together quite a lot today. The roof has really done it. This awning now needs to change. It's driving me insane just looking at it. But we've blocked some stuff out. I think this could be a cool little thing once it's done. I do actually need to get this done relatively soon because I think the Maker World competition for Book Nooks ends next week. So, not that it matters. I'm not going to win it anyway. But, and actually, to be honest, in the past when I've uploaded stuff for competitions, it ends up being like actually worse for engagement because there's obviously so many things in the same category going at that time. But I wanted to make this for me. And I thought, why not? So anyway, thank you very much for joining the stream and have a pleasant day. Ta-ta for now.